Okay. Well, thanks for sticking around. Is this working? Yeah. And while he's getting that set up, I will just explain a little bit about this program. So I'm going to be playing 5 pieces, which I'll have up there. And the theme of this program is Thanksgiving. So the holiday, which is coming up here pretty soon. I was reading, I wanted to share some thoughts biblically behind the idea of Thanksgiving, and as well as some of the significance of the words in these pieces. But I was reading in Romans chapter 1, verse 20, where it says, the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse. Because that when they knew God, they glorified him not as God, neither were thankful, but became vain in their imaginations, and their foolish heart was darkened. So I think Thanksgiving can be an indicator of where we are with God, or a point of departure from God. And the definition I'll share with you is a heartfelt expression of gratitude to God for benefits received. And these days there's a lot of people are doing, it's a popular thing, I am grateful statements. And that's definitely good for your mental health and all that. But to complete the circle, it's expressed to God for the benefits that we have received. And when you know God through Jesus, that circle is complete. I always think of Thanksgiving of Daniel, the prophet, who he was high up in leadership or government, and his colleagues got jealous of him and tried to trap him. And it says in Daniel 6:10, now when Daniel knew the writing was signed, he went into his house, and his windows being opened in his chamber toward Jerusalem, he kneeled upon his knees 3 times a day and prayed and gave thanks before his God as he did aforetime. He gave thanks, and it was to God. And he did that often, and he was very intentional about it. He did that before he was ever, in danger. And he did it when it was a hard time. So it's just a wonderful example. And then we see Jesus himself, it says in the Bible 7 times. It records 7 times he was thankful. And it wasn't always easy to be thankful, but he recognized, and that is the accurate perspective, is to be thankful. But the most interesting reference I find is in 1 Corinthians 11, and I never really noticed this before, but it's in the context of the Lord's Supper. And when he had given thanks, he brake it and said, take, eat, this is my body, which is broken for you. This do in remembrance of me. I guess I missed it there. I'm sorry. 1 Corinthians 11:24. When he had given thanks, he brake it. So he had given thanks, and he was giving thanks in the middle of his most darkest adversity and suffering. So he's consistent with what God is looking for. God is looking for that from us, even as he healed the 10 lepers that said, have mercy on us. And he said, where are the 9? There was only one that gave thanks. Let's see. You'll notice that it says, now thank we all our God 3 times, and that's not a typo. I do have separate arrangements for that hymn, but that hymn was written in 1636 by a pastor in the middle of the 30 Years' War, which was more destructive than World War I or World War II, in the middle of the bubonic plague, and in the context of his wife dying a year later, and refugees flooding into the city, and him making negotiations with the Swedish. And he ended up, when the captain of the Swedish saw him on his knees praying, he lowered the exorbitant sum that they had to pay. Anyways, in that context, he wrote this hymn of thanksgiving. It was a hymn to be sung with his family, and a communal hymn. So rather than me doing a special on that first hymn, we're actually going to sing it together. Because I did have a special, but it's not prepared. But the other ones, you will hear more about those. Let's see, page 557. So if you sing parts, we're only going to sing the first verse. Now thank we all our God with hearts and hands and voices, who wondrous things hath done, in whom this world rejoices, who from our mother's arms hath blessed us on our way with countless gifts of love, and still is our